Hi guys, my name is Kirsty and welcome back to Upside Down Books. Today we're going to be doing a special TBR for December.
Non più tra I farfalloni amoroso, notte giorno di torno.
I am late giving this video. I appreciate that. I know that. I'm sorry. It just didn't happen. And now it's the 1st of December when I'm filming. And we're going to be discussing all of the books that I'm going to be reading in December, which should be loads of fun. Yeah, okay, so basically, there's a lot of books. There's a lot of books to go through, guys. If you've been around here for a while, then you will know that I do special TBRs for Wednesdays? No, not for Wednesdays. If you've been here for a while, you'll know that I do a special TBR for May and December because that is my birthday and Christmas month. May being my birthday, December being Christmas, if that wasn't clear. Basically, at these times, my friends and family give me a lot of books as gifts, which I love. It is my favourite thing in the whole wide world. If you ever want to make me happy, it is by showering me in literature. But because I'm a bad person, I struggle to actually get around to reading these books in an socially acceptable amount of time. And so a few years ago, I made the decision that in order to combat this and to get around to these books, I would make a special effort in the month leading up to when that event's happening to clear out as many of them as I can from the previous year that I hadn't got to. The idea being in a perfect world that I'd only have a couple to finish off because I've already read most of them over the year. But when you have a TBR that is as big as mine, and we are not far off 400 despite best efforts, it takes a while to get through things. And last year, if you saw my December haul for last year, you may have noticed that I got quite a lot of books. In fact, I think it was just around the 30 mark. And I think I've only read like 2 of them. I've done an awful job this year, which is mainly because I've not finished that many TBRs throughout the year. I can't wait to do my end of year wrap up and rake myself through the coals by having a look at how many TBRs I completed, or like percentage of TBRs, because I think it's going to be abominable. But we try and we keep going back up and we don't give up, right? Anyway, the point is all the presents from the presents jar, whose sole purpose is to try and avoid ending up with such a huge TBR like I am for this Christmas, has failed because I have not got around to these things. So alas, here we are, December 2021, and we are going to be looking at all the books I really should have read by now but have not. To make this worse and to make this challenge harder, I'm also going to be talking about some of the review copies that I need to read, which is this little stack you can see here, and we're going to be talking about like the ones that I should be reading more or less now-ish. But I'm also just bringing up my spreadsheet. Love spreadsheets, which tells me everything I need to know about my Christmas list for this year. So yeah, I've got a lot of books to read, in short. In the long, do I have time? Do I have time to read these books? I think so. I've done a lot of reading. I've done a reasonable amount of reading. You'll see my wrap up for November coming out shortly, hopefully my next video, and I'll go into further there about how I'm feeling about my reading pace and maybe give you some predictions as to how I think I'm going to do with December. I'm expecting about 50%. I'm going to read about 50% of all these books. I'm going to go hard. And I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win this TBR. I did such a good job last year, so we're setting a shining example for ourselves. But yes, so yes, yeah. So let's just get into it. Let's have a chat. Let's have a little revision. Have a think, and then let's pray to our lucky stars that I gain some superpower reading skills. Because yeah. In terms of what else I'm doing with my life, so. Does she have time? What else is she doing with her time in December? I am working full-time, is the short answer. And Christmas. There's a lot of Christmas stuff happening, whether it's work functions, of which I have like 10, there's so many this year, and then just other Christmas functions with friends and family. So look, I'm not holding out hope for a lot of spare time, guys, okay? But we're just going to pretend everything's fine and that I will have time. I think I'll be tired come January. Let's get into it. So I have 5 arcs that are of a pressing nature that I would like to get to, all of which have been released. 10 out of 10 to me there. But one of which I have already started, so let's start with that one. So, reminder, it's the 1st of December as I'm filming, and I've started reading The Fossil Hunter by Tia Cooper. You would have seen this in my vlog for October. I got this book, it's part of a Harlequin book club called The Book Stack. Links below for that one. And so far so good. I've only read it for like half an hour and I've managed to crack into the first like 60 pages. Historical fiction, up my alley, is my jam. I'm looking forward to like polishing this off within the next few days. We'll be putting in a concerted effort to get it done because yeah, this was the November pick of the month. So this one, being called The Fossil Hunter, is about someone who finds fossils, and it has two perspectives in 1919 and 18 something. And the 18 something timeline is about another woman who is alongside, like a peer alongside the historical figure Mary Anning, who is a famous fossil collector. Those storylines are linked. So I'm actually enjoying it so far. I've had a friend tell me it was a bit slow, but we have different reading tastes, so I think I'm going to enjoy this. So that's book one off the rank. This will be finished. This is a guaranteed read, the only read I can guarantee that will happen in December. So that segues nicely into what the December pick of the month is, and that is Unforgiven by Sarah Barry. If you've seen my book haul where I hold this one, I was not super sold on this one. My friend who's also participating in the book club, I will leave her handle here. I think it's Liz Reads or something. Go check her out. But yeah, she's really excited for this and has great enthusiasm about it. Less so for me. This is about paedophiles, and I'm not sure how excited I am about this side of crime, so I wouldn't be that upset with myself if I don't read this one. I will be doing a giveaway though. I am doing a giveaway for it in the next week or so on my Instagram, which is OzBooksNow, so go follow me there if you haven't already, if you want to keep an eye out for a giveaway coming up in the next few days. Other books that I have from Harlequin, which is where those two are from, is the last book of the Maria V. Snyder series. So we have The King of Koraha. I will definitely be reading this because I'm so excited. So this is the book three. This is book three in the trilogy of the Eyes of Tempura, which is actually called The Archives of the Invisible Sword, and brilliant, loving it. Oh, just I am like Maria V. Snyder's #1 fangirl, and I'm just here for anything she writes. So yeah, very excited to have this one in the mail. Again, we'll be running a giveaway for this one around about the same time as for Unforgiven, so you really want to be over on my Instagram if you want to get a copy. Both of those are Australia only, I should say. Apologies for my international friends. Shipping is just too hard. Apologies to my Kiwi friends as well. Shipping, COVID, 'tis a mess. But yes, very excited for this trilogy. Fantasy world, deserts, really attractive male character in it as well. I mean, what more could you want? So yeah, I will probably just smash this out in an evening or two, but we will see. So the last two, one of them is non-fiction, and that is A Funny Life by Michael McIntyre. I did request this one, so I really need to get around to reading it, and I'm really excited about it. This was sent to me by Pam Macmillan, so hopefully I can just find an evening where I can cruise on through and have a good laugh, but we will see. Don't know how I'm going to fit this in, but that's not what we're worrying about in this video, so moving on. Thirdly, it's actually fifthly, is The House of Always. Is she ever going to read this book? We don't know. I've been promising that I would read this book since May, and I actually don't think that's a joke, but it's big and I know it's hard to read, and it just hasn't been happening, and I still don't know if it's going to happen in December. I'm going to try, but I have other priorities. Might be a January 1st book. We will see. I tend to get around to these books in January, so yeah. This is book 4 in the Chorus of Dragons series by Jed Lyons, the first book being The Ruin of Kings, and such a good series, just really complex to read. That's what's happening in the review copy world that I need to get on top of, and always not on top of. Let's move on to my actual TBR. Like 10 minutes into the video. Let's do it. So I've created myself a little spreadsheet, and I have read 4 books off it, if I've got this up to date, of the books that I got last year. So it was 23 books that I got in December for 2021 for Christmas from friends and family. So yeah, out of those I have 19, although not quite, and I will explain why right now. There were a few Charles Dickens books that I got. My brother, let me show you, got me this gorgeous Barnes & Noble edition of, like, it's huge. You could kill someone with this easily. It's got 5 of the stories of Oliver Twist, Tale of Two Cities, David Copperfield, Christmas Carol, Great Expectations, none of which I've read. I've only read like bits and pieces of Christmas Carol. Is so beautiful. Something like, you know, in a perfect world, I'd actually have a crack at reading these, but here's a little insight into my plans for next year. I'm thinking of doing a classics challenge for 2022. Let me know your thoughts down below. So I'm not too stressed about getting onto this one now, but yeah, anyway, so that's 5 books off the 19, so we're down to 14. It's looking better already. Last year, the way I tackled this was I ranked them, I ordered them in order of rating to try and pick out the ones that would be a faster read, first because they're most well loved. However, after some extensive discussions with my good friend Sarah, who gave me one of these books last year, I'm going to hijack the order just a little bit. So the first book that I'm going to be reading actually comes in ranking at about 7, but this is going to be the first one I'm reading because this is the book Sarah gave me, and that is Lovely War by Julie Berry. I've been trying to read this book for so long. I've just been itching to pick this one up, and it keeps being like the last book on a TBR, imagined or real, and I just have not picked it up. So this is like World War II and mythology all bundled up together, and Sarah loved it, and I always trust Sarah's opinion. So we are looking forward to reading this one. So as soon as I finish The Fossil Hunter, I will be picking this one up. I can't wait to dive into this one, so this will be book 1 on the TBR. And then from then on in, I think I'm just going to do it in order of rating, of average rating on Goodreads according to when I input this data, which means that Legendborn is the next book on my TBR. So this is Legendborn by Tracy Dion, and I've heard nothing but good things about this, and I think the sequel has just come out, so I'm really looking forward to picking this one up. This is obviously a black author, black characters, supporting all of that great diversity stuff going on. Really excited, have just heard so many good things about this one. So yes, this is clearing by a mile the ratings at the top of my list, and I'm excited to pick this one up. So this will be number 2 on my TBR for December. Can't wait. Next one on the list was November 9 by Colleen Hoover, which I have read. Hurrah! And honestly, I don't think that it was... that book I found slightly problematic, so I'm surprised to see it so high at the top of my list, but anyway, so that's off the list. The next book is one called Asperfell. So that's Asperfell by James Thomas. I've not heard anyone talking about this one, but I'm really excited. This is a YA fantasy, and oh, it's an otherworldly prison. Shall I just read you the blurb? Because I don't think many of us know what this is. I think I shall. Only the darkest and most dangerous of mages are sentenced to pass through the gates to Asperfell. No one has ever returned. Never did Bryony dream she might set foot in the otherworldly prison of Asperfell. She was, after all, neither mage nor criminal. She was simply her father's little whirlwind, fingers smudged in ink, dresses caked with mud, forever lost in a book, or in the spirit-haunted woods surrounding her family's country estate. But Bryony always had a knack for showing up where she was least expected. Only by braving the gates of Asperfell could Bryony hope to find the true heir to the throne of tidelands and save her kingdom from a civil war. Blah, 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 blah. Sounds great. Magic, civil war, mages, otherworldly prisons. We are here for that. This is rated highly, so let's hope that this one delivers. The next book is actually Pirinha. I don't know why I still don't know how to pronounce this, but Pirinha by Susanna Clark. This was given to me by my friend Gemma. Thank you, Gemma, if you're watching this. I'm so excited, have been like praying and hoping this would get pulled out from my jar earlier in the year. So I'm a keen bean to start this one. This is small. Obviously this is mythology. It is following this particular character and sounds like it's going to be like low-key sassy. I'm basically going to be comparing this to the standard I hold Circe to by Madeline Miller, so you know, high standards, high hopes, but I think they're justified. This is rated really highly, right at the top of my list there, so hoping for great things from this book. Oh, and just because we all know this is stunning without the jacket, shall we just enjoy it together? Ain't she a beauty? Alright, so that is moving on to number 5 on the list. It's another one that I don't think you've heard of. Well, you probably have because you follow me and I've talked about it before. But that's beside the point. There's Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater. Now this one has, I love the cover for this one and I like that it's small, so that makes me excited. I'm also just like always really excited when like non-mainstream books are rated really highly and I'm going to have the chance to read them. It feels very exciting. I believe we're going to have like a seamstress vibe. That's what I get from here. Maybe we should have a read of this one too. So this is a really, really long blurb. It's advertised as Pride and Prejudice meets Howl's Moving Castle. You know, I don't think we need anything more than that. If you're interested to find out more, if you need more before you buy a copy, then go and look it up. But I mean, Howl's Moving Castle and Pride and Prejudice? Sold! Okay, so the next book is a historical fiction. Now, this is by an author who I've heard many good things of, who seems to be in the Hall of Fame for just good historical fiction, and that is Pennies for Hitler by Jackie French. I've had my eye on this for a really long time. It's got the CBCA award, which is the Children's Book Council of Australia, so that is indicating good things. I love me some historical fiction. I'm a sucker for it. This is a particularly special book for me in terms of my TBR, because this has been on my wish list for like 10 years, it feels like. So I have just this ongoing, everlasting wish list which is where my friends and family choose books from. And it's got hundreds of books on there. And yeah, this one just languished in the corners of that wish list for so long. So to actually have a physical copy feels really surreal, and I'm really hoping it meets my expectations. So let's cross our fingers. As it is children's fiction, it seems, I think it should be quite easy to read, so looking forward to polishing this one off nice and quickly. So the next one I'm particularly excited for, and it's a YA sci-fi, and it's one whose title has always made me giggle, and that is A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. And I didn't realise, I think until this year, that this was actually a trilogy. Damn, I thought that would come off. That this is actually, I think, a trilogy or something. So I'm going to read the blurb for this one because you might fall into the same boat as me where you've seen it everywhere but couldn't actually say what it's about. So when Rosemary Harper joins the crew of the Wayfarer, she isn't expecting much. The Wayfarer, a patched up ship that's seen better days, offers her everything she could possibly want. A small quiet spot to call home for a while, adventure in far off corners of the galaxy, and distance from her troubled past. But Rosemary gets more than she bargained for with the Wayfarer. The crew is a mishmash of species and personalities, from Sissix to the friendly reptilian pilot to Kizzies and Jenks, the constantly sparring engineers who keep the ship running. Life on board is chaotic but more or less peaceful. Exactly what she wants, and then I assume something goes wrong. I don't know, this already sounds good. I'm loving the premise for this one, so I really hope that I get to it, and I think I will. I think I can do this so far. So far looking good. Let's pretend we've forgotten about the arcs. I want to get to this one. That's our benchmark, I think. Let's officially dub this the benchmark. If I get to blah 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 blah, then we're going to consider this a win. So the next one on the list was Daughter of the Siren Queen, which was the sequel to Daughter of the Pirate King, and I've read that one, so another tick. Really, honestly, I should have read so many more of these, but nonetheless, the next one is another historical fiction. Now this one's a small one. It's by Amy K. Runyon, and that is Daughters of the Night Sky. It is a novel inspired by the most celebrated regiment in the Red Army about a woman's sacrifice, courage, and love in a time of war. So I am always here for women in history, particularly when we're talking about women pilots. I think that's going to be great. So that's like my main selling point for this book, is the fact that it is women full front and center for World War II. Yeah, love it, want it, need more of it. So that's the exciting point. I'm not going to dive too much more into this. If you're really interested on a more in-depth premise than that, then feel free to go forth and look it up yourself, because I can't be bothered reading the blurb to you. I'm sorry. So the next one is something I am so excited for, because it's a particular part of history that I really enjoyed studying in my earlier years. So that is The Traitor by V.S. Alexander, and this one is about the White Rose Society in Berlin, and I just think that the history of that group, or at least it's inspired by them, is just really tragic. You should go and look it up and have a little read about what the White Rose was in Germany. So I'm going to read you the blurb for this one because I think more people should pick this up, but I will endorse that a bit more when I've actually read the book. Because whilst it is rated highly, and I probably should state now that the lowest rating on this is still reasonably high. So the lowest rating is 3.75, so I would not discount any of these on rating alone. But this is the blurb for The Traitor. Drawing on the true story of the White Rose, the resistance movement of young Germans against the Nazi regime, The Traitor tells of one woman who offers her life in the ultimate battle against tyranny during one of history's darkest hours. In the summer of 1942, as war rages across Europe, a series of anonymous leaflets appear around the University of Munich, speaking out against escalating Nazi atrocities. The leaflets are hidden in public places or mailed to addresses selected at random from the phone book. Natalia Petrovich, a student, knows who is behind the leaflets, a secret group called the White Rose, led by siblings Hans and Sophie Scholl and their friends. As a volunteer nurse on the Russian front, Natalia witnessed the horrors of war firsthand. She willingly enters the White Rose's circle, where every hushed conversation, every small act of dissent could mean imprisonment or death at the hands of the infuriated Gestapo. Natalia risks everything along with her friends, hoping the power of words will encourage others to resist. But even among those she trusts most, there is no guarantee of safety, and when danger strikes, she must take an extraordinary gamble in her own personal struggle to survive. Yeah, so if you don't know who the White Rose are, have a read, have a cry, and then maybe read this book with me. Who knows? I'm excited for this one. So the next one would be A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, but we're just gonna turn a blind eye and let that one go. Then David Copperfield, more blind eyes. Then we got this damn book that keeps haunting me, and that is A Map of Sultans Stars by Jennifer Zainab Jakarda. The amount of times I pulled this out of my TBR, I should really learn to say her name. This is about Syria. This has 2 timelines. One of them is a map maker explorer, and one of them is set during, I think, the Arab Spring or somewhere thereabouts. I could give you this general vibe of this book time and time again. I am so disappointed in myself that I've not read this yet, despite I think it being picked twice this year on my TBR. That the gods want me to read this book, so I will try, book gods, I will try. But no guarantees, because this is getting further down the list, and like, we all know that like our general faith in my ability to read this many books is probably getting towards the 0% mark. But yes, this is the next book on the list, so we will see if we get there. Wouldn't it be amazing if I did though? If this was the final book I read in 2021, it'd be so bittersweet. The next one I have a lovely hardback for, and that is Angel and Bavar by Amy Wilson. This is a Beauty and the Beast reimagining retelling. I believe this is actually middle grade fiction, and I have a hardback, which is very exciting. Honestly, do we need to know more than that? Do we need to know more than it's a Beauty and the Beast retelling? I don't think so. Stunning cover, candidate number 108 on my TBR for December. So then we get to Oliver Twist, Blind Eye. Tale of Two Cities, Blind Eye. Blaze Roth Games I've read and was slightly disappointed by. That's fine. We won't dwell on my deep-seated sadness about a dragon book not topping the charts. But yes, so I've read Blaze Roth Games, so another win for me. Then we have a Philippa Gregory, Ding Dong. Don't know where it is. Oh dear God, I think I moved it. So many books. If only I had some sort of method to my organisation. Oh, she is with the other Philippa Gregorys. Righto, so we then have Tidelands by Philippa Gregoria, who is an author I've decided is one of my favourite authors. I've read books 1 and 2 of her Order of Darkness fantasy series, so I've yet to read any actual like proper historical fiction from her. This was a gift from my uncle, and I really want to read this. I really want to read more Philippa Gregory. And I've pulled this and some of the other Philippa Gregorys already from my TBR earlier in the year. So if we imagine for one moment that I actually do the reading, this would be really satisfying to get to. I don't think it'll be a quick read, but that depends on my dedication. Look at these little motifs. They're very nice. Look at that. That's very pretty. Is that a chapter? Has this not got proper chapters? Oh God. Who writes a book without real chapters? Okay, well maybe I won't be too sad if that's a 2022 book, we'll see. Okay, so we're getting towards the end, because then it's Great Expectations, and that means it's a Blind Eye. And then we have A Study in Charlotte, which is a Sherlock Holmes retelling. I'm very excited about this one. So this is A Study in Charlotte by Brittany Cavallaro, and it's not too long, so it could be an easy one to polish off. I definitely reserve the right that if I get bored, strugglesome, or slumpy reading any of these books, that I can jump the order around and skip ahead or whatever I want, because I feel like this could be a good anti-slump book. So perhaps I could bump this one up if I need a bit of zhuzhing in my motivational areas. Then this could be the one. So yeah, this is a Sherlock Holmes retelling. Again, I think this got pulled earlier in the year as well, but I didn't get around to it. So honestly, a lot of these been picked on the TBR previously, and slack moi has not got to them. Which I believe brings us to the final book. Yeah. The next book was The Damned, which is the sequel to The Beautiful, which I've read. Good job, me. Which means the final book, and I was honest to goodness so surprised that this came in at the very end of all of these books, is Cinderella is Dead by Kaylin Bayron, and this was so popular, and I've heard good things about this one. So I was surprised that even though this is the 3.75 rating, that's not that bad, but I wasn't expecting it to be that bad. You know, I thought this would be a lot higher, so I'm really kind of a bit sad that this one's at the bottom, and this is definitely up there in a contested position for me to bump up higher in the ranks and maybe read sooner. We'll see, because I don't think this will be hard to read. It's got pretty big and spacey font, and I'm really excited to read it. It's a Cinderella retelling. Not only that, but it's like a black Cinderella retelling, which is all we could possibly ask for. So I'm, yeah, bit bummed and quizzical about the fact that this is at the bottom of the TBR, so I don't know, what do you think? Have you read it? Have you read this book? If you've read this book and you think this is amazing, then I give you permission to start a little protest in my comment section to have this one read sooner. I give you permission to do that. So yeah, just a few books. Just a few books for December. Yeah, so there we go. Thank you for coming along with me today on this journey to discuss my books, the order in which I'll be reading them, and what books are going to be read in December. I can't believe it's December. I'm so excited that Christmas is just around the corner. I'm a big fan of Christmas. So yes, thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed. Let me know in the comments down below how many books you think I'll get through, because the final tally is 19 physical books, and I will read 1 or 2 audiobooks on my commuting. So how many books do you think I'm going to finish in December? I'm banking on 12. That's my happy go Larry middle grounds. 12 is the aim, guys. We're going to try and do it. So let me know in the comments down below what you think, but other than that, I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.
Alle